All right, welcome to Just Plain Sports episode number one, hopefully the first of many to come. I'm Jimmy, and I am joined by my cohort, Randy. And then this is when you talk, Randy.
What's up, guys?
Today's going to be normal. Well, normally we'll talk about anything that's popular and making news in the sports world, but today we're going to be focusing heavily on college football. I think we're going to be talking about the bowl games, the BCS selection process, and then maybe get into the Heisman Trophy competition a little bit, and then round it out with some NFL maybe if we have some time at the end of the night. So, where do you want to start off, Randy? What bowl game? You want to talk about the Holiday Bowl? That's kind of a big game usually.
Yeah, sorry about the Holiday Bowl.
We got Cal in Texas, and it's going to be down in San Diego, and two of the bigger franchises, well, not franchises, schools.
Yeah.
That's wrong sport. Two of the bigger followings, especially Texas, I think. Both teams are kind of in a rebuilding mode. Both teams are 7-5. Could be Mac Brown's last game. He's talking about maybe being about retiring after this. So
Hmm. I didn't know that actually.
yeah, it's all kind of rumors right now. There's rumors that the athletic director might be forcing him out of the program, or maybe he's just too old and doesn't want to do it anymore.
Well, like, okay, is this 2 years in a row now that Texas hasn't really played up to the
Last
hype?
year, Texas was 5-7. They had a losing record.
And then the season before that, were they even the BCS? I forget. No
I
09.
Beats me. Was Colt McCoy? Colt McCoy was probably still there, so maybe I don't know.
Yeah, they're probably in a BCS game, not the title game though. I don't think. But Case McCoy's there now.
Yeah, and he's nowhere near as good as Big Brother was.
No, not at
Well, I
all.
mean, okay, that's probably not fair. He's a redshirt freshman, so I'm sure
Yeah,
Colt
so
McCoy probably
maybe he'll
wasn't that good
become
either.
as good.
Maybe I don't know. Colt McCoy probably goes down as the best quarterback in Texas history, don't you think? Probably better than Vince Young,
Yeah,
even though Vince Young
yeah,
beat USC in that Rose Bowl game.
yeah. That was one hell of a game.
So I'll be in attendance for that game. So it should be good fun. That'll be Wednesday, December 28th. So let's move on. Here's one you want to talk about, and it kind of has some implications into the Heisman race. The Alamo Bowl, Washington Huskies and the Baylor Bears.
Yep, with Robert Griffin the third,
RG3, as the kids are
RG3.
calling him.
Well,
Well, all of a sudden we could delve into this a little bit more later, but all of a sudden Robert Griffin's he's the Heisman frontrunner ahead of Andrew Luck and Trent Richardson apparently.
and how do you feel about that?
Well, I'd rather Robert Griffin win than Trent Richardson.
Yeah, it's true because
I just think Andrew Luck deserves it. He's the best player by far in the country. That's just my opinion.
well, I mean,
And
okay,
you know me,
watching.
I hate Stanford too. So so if I'm saying that Luck should win it, he probably deserves it. That's
Well,
just my
that's
stance.
because you're a Pac-12 homer, though. So
And
that's
and a whack soon to be Mountain West homer or whatever else.
well, okay. Well, watching Baylor this season, like, okay, the first game of the season they played TCU, and like, say what you will about TCU, like, they're still a pretty damn decent team, and they just had that shootout. I think
Well,
it
it
came
was
down
the
to the
first
wire.
week of the season,
Yeah,
and
and they beat them. TCU right off the bat, it's 0-1. I mean, when's the last time we saw TCU 0-1 at the beginning of the season, right? But it ended up being a shootout. They won 50-48. And then they go
how do you remember the final score? Are you
because
looking? Are you
crazy
looking
like
at it?
that,
Are you looking at it?
maybe.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
But okay, so then they go off to Kansas State. Then they lose. But Kansas State's
Kansas
obviously
State ended up being obviously a BCS type contender team at the end of the year, even though they didn't get in. But
well, yeah. And then like I think their worst loss of the season though is Texas A&M. I mean, they played at Texas A&M, a team that had like a
yeah,
whole bunch of hype, but turned out to be horrible, obviously. And then obviously losing to Oklahoma State. But
that's a given.
yeah. But I mean, if you
Unless
look,
you're Iowa State.
yeah. But I mean, like Baylor, okay, they have a very, I would say an easy pull here against Washington.
Yeah,
But like,
Washington's not good.
because I mean,
None of
like
the
Baylor,
Pac-12 was good.
well, yeah, but I mean, like like Baylor's just given up way too much points this season, and like without Robert Griffin, I don't think this team is even bowl eligible.
I
Obviously,
would agree
without
with that.
him.
I would agree.
But that's just what I have to say about that.
Okay, well, I would agree with most of your statements. I think Griffin's probably the most exciting player to watch, maybe. in college
Yeah,
football. I
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
I wish I wonder if I can bring up the stats quickly, but his yards per attempt must be just absolutely insane. Because I think at one point he had like over 400 yards passing in the Oklahoma game on
Uh,
like 17 completions or something. I
mhm.
mean, it's he just. I mean, I think his receivers must be pretty decent too. Probably.
Yeah.
I have no idea if they'll get drafted, but they should be pretty decent probably. So.
Well, on the other side for Washington, who's watching that game? On
Their running back James Polk. He's probably a first or
you mean
second
Chris
round
Polk?
draft pick.
You mean Chris
He's
Polk?
Chris Polk. What did I say? James Polk?
Yeah, isn't
Like
that
like the
president?
president?
Yeah, the president. Is that a
Wow.
former
So you would
president?
think I would know that. Yeah, Chris Polk. Wow, I'm surprised you knew that and I didn't.
Mm,
And if he's healthy, their quarterback Keith Price, he's pretty decent also, but that's
pretty
about
decent.
it.
So you're giving Washington a shot at all
No,
in this?
oh no, God no.
Well, not only are they playing a more,
Well,
efficient team, but also
Washington's weakness this whole season was their defense, and more specifically their pass defense. I think Griffin goes for like 500 yards and like 5 touchdowns in this game.
yeah. Well, and this is another thing. The bowl game's in San Antonio, so it's a home game
You're
for
right, it is a home game.
Baylor. So
All right, well let's move on to another Big 12 team. It's the Insight Bowl down in Tempe, Iowa and Oklahoma. Oklahoma kind of fallen by the wayside at the end of the year with those two losses to Baylor and Oklahoma State. You
yeah,
like this matchup for some reason.
yeah.
You're
Well,
interested by
I don't
it.
like the matchup. I mean, it's a story game because of Oklahoma. Like with all the talks at the beginning of the season, they were like definitely one of the favorites to be in at least a BCS game.
Mhm.
But ended up losing 3 games. I mean, at the hands of obviously the rivals Oklahoma State. Then they lost to Baylor, who we just talked about,
The
and then of course
Texas
that
Tech
Texas
loss.
Tech. Obviously, the first game they lost of the season, and that was just
What
horrible. I
Texas
mean,
Tech end up at like 5-7, I think.
yeah, 5-7. Yeah,
Jeez,
5-7.
awful. That's just
The team
awful.
that barely beat UNR. Texas Tech. We have to
Well,
mention that,
let's not go there. Let's not go there. We'll
right?
we'll out ourselves.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to say Oklahoma should handily take Iowa
I would
down.
think so also.
I would hope so. You know, but
Even without Ryan Broyles, I still think Landry Jones just chucks the ball all over the yard, and
exactly.
so. All
Yeah.
right, let's move on. Scrolling through all these uninteresting games. Okay, I'm conflicted about this game. It's the Ticket City Bowl, Houston and Penn State.
Yay, go Houston.
Ugh, I hope Houston curb stomps them.
No, you know what? I hope they
Actually,
lose.
I don't. Actually, I hope Houston loses also. I want Penn State
Yeah.
to go out on something decent.
Okay, because I mean, okay, Case Keenum, his numbers this season. Obviously, he plays in Conference USA, but Heisman hopeful, then blows that title game last week.
I think that's the
And
reason why he didn't get a Heisman invite to New York
I
City.
don't
I
know, he
think
doesn't even
because he
get an
lost.
invite now. I mean, I think he's like in last out of like the top 10 Heisman choices now or something,
Yeah,
like
he blew it.
10th or 9th. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's the problem with these teams in the non, qualifying conferences. Like, they play all these,
Marshmallows.
marshmallows all season. Then they run into a somewhat decent team within their own conference and, blow it. And,
Well, yeah, they lost to the only other halfway decent team in Conference USA, and they didn't just lose; they got
they got,
absolutely killed.
yeah, it was embarrassing to
Southern
see,
Miss
like,
killed them.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't even that much of a game. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, the only reason why I wanted to talk about this game was obviously because Houston, fell from grace, and also because of Penn State and what happened to them.
I don't really want to talk about that because that's just depressing.
It's just depressing what
Well, I
happened to
mean,
them.
everyone knows the story there. I don't think we need to rehash it all.
Yeah, obviously, and I
Although
mean,
he was arrested today and has $1 million bail set
yeah, he was arrested. Yeah,
based on new accusations. So
yeah. So I don't. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going around that. But another thing we can mention about this game is the Cougars obviously have that pass offense, but they're playing against number 5 pass defense in Penn State.
well, and here's the interesting thing now, and we can get in. We'll talk about it later when we get to the BCS bowl games. But it's kind of brings up an interesting point. Do you think Houston would have even been invited, even if they had won their conference title game? Just judging by how the rest of it played out. I mean, honestly.
I think an undefeated Houston does get in.
You
I
think you
think,
have to take them?
I think you kind of have to because I mean, in the past, they've taken undefeated Boise State, undefeated TCU, and I think undefeated Houston is the same thing. Like I think an undefeated Houston, they would have probably
Okay.
climbed to like 5 or 6 in the standings.
Yeah.
So I think you have to take them,
Okay.
especially with no losses.
Well, that's actually going to be the first game on January 2nd because, well, the bowl games aren't on New Year's Day this year because New Year's Day falls on a Sunday and they're not going to be. College football doesn't want to compete with the NFL, so they actually moved everything back to January 2nd, so that'll be kind of interesting seeing all these games not on New Year's Day.
Oh, that is kind of
So,
interesting.
no Rose Bowl on New Year's Day.
Yeah,
Do you think this
that's
are they still going to do the Rose Parade on New Year's Day? I would assume they have to
they would
because
have to do
the
that
bowl
too.
game's the
Well,
next day now.
well, because the thing is, because the Rose Bowl, I mean, the parade, it's usually broadcasted on NBC, isn't it?
It's probably on ABC, which owns the bowl game
ABC,
rights.
which will be probably showing NFL though. So
ABC doesn't have. ABC doesn't have any bowl rights or NFL rights. I mean,
are you sure? I could have sworn they play
Fox,
games.
CBS, NBC, and ESPN. So
Oh,
that's
well
kind of
dude, Rose Bowl always goes on New
it's
Year's
always
Day.
on ABC. Well, because
Yeah, yeah.
that's the one thing. Oh wait, no, Rose Bowl's on ESPN. What? I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah. Didn't know
Oh,
that
Rose
either.
Bowl's always been on ABC. I didn't know it went to ESPN. Wow. Okay. Rose Bowl whoring themselves out for the almighty dollar.
Exactly.
Screw tradition. Who cares?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. Moving on. The next big game on New Year's Day: Michigan State and Georgia. These are two teams who were kind of on the cusp of BCS bowls, especially Michigan State, especially Sparty.
Yeah, man. Like, did you end up watching that game against Wisconsin?
I'm really angry at myself that I didn't.
It was arguably one of the best games I've seen in the last like 5 years, probably.
That's by all accounts that's what I'm hearing, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
mean,
depressed and mad at myself that I didn't watch it.
yeah, I
Instead,
mean,
I watched Oregon and UCLA. Give me a break.
Oregon, UCLA. Oh no. Well, okay, all right.
Wait,
Michigan
no, those
State.
games weren't even on the same day. I don't have an excuse. I don't know why
You
I
don't have
didn't
an
watch it.
excuse.
I
You
don't
were
know what my
doing
excuse
something else.
is.
Well, okay. The
I was
Michigan
reading the
State
game.
Wisconsin. Just to recap the Big Ten championship game,
Yeah, lay it on me.
Wisconsin jumped up ahead 21-7 in the first. Wisconsin's winning by 2 touchdowns. Second quarter, Michigan State goes 22 points straight on them. So it's 29-21. Michigan State at half. You know, third quarter they both score a touchdown each. So it's still Michigan State by a touchdown.
Mhm.
And then Wisconsin scores 14 points straight on Michigan State and wins it in the fourth. So I mean, it was definitely just a back and forth
Well, it
game
was
until the fourth.
probably a good sequel to their first matchup in the regular season when Michigan State won on that deflected Hail Mary right at the goal line at the end of the game.
I totally forgot about that. That was Wisconsin.
That was
Wow.
Wisconsin and Michigan State.
I knew Michigan State. I mean, I knew that was Michigan State, but I did not know the opponent was Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. Then that just makes this game even more incredible.
I would probably lean towards a Michigan State victory, but what do I know?
Well, I mean, okay, Georgia. Okay, because I watched the Georgia LSU game, and
As did I
Georgia.
actually watched it also.
Yeah, like Georgia. Okay, I think the big momentum shift there was they were up 10-0, and then they gave up a punt return touchdown
Right before the half.
right before a. I mean, that's huge. I mean, like you get shut out all half, and then you get a give me. Just a gimme basically.
Tyrann Mathieu, that dude's a stud.
Yeah, I mean, it just. I mean, it totally shifted tides, and then
And then LSU racks up 42 straight points on you.
yeah, doesn't even let Georgia, get a single point again. So I mean, it just was kind of a bitter end to Georgia's run there because I thought after Georgia lost to Boise State at the beginning of the season and against who else they lose to at the beginning of the season, I forget. But they dropped those 2 games early, and I just thought Georgia had no shot at all because preseason predictions were saying like, oh, Georgia's gonna be an SEC contender, and all this stuff, and how
You know
look
why
out.
they were an SEC contender? Because they didn't have to play LSU or Alabama in the regular
Yeah,
season.
Yeah,
Did they
I
even
mean,
play Arkansas? Probably not.
no, they played Arkansas.
They
No,
didn't
they
have
didn't
to
play.
play the 3 best teams for the SEC, so that's how
Yeah,
they got to the
exactly.
title game.
So then, Georgia goes on a 10-game winning streak, ends up getting to the title game, and then reality hits. They play LSU, best team in the country. So, I don't know. I think I agree with you. I'm going to go with the Michigan State victory.
Roll on Sparty. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Here, Any other year, this would be a gigantic game. It's the Gator Bowl down in Jacksonville, Ohio State and Florida. Little intrigue with the coaching situations here, even though both teams are only 6-6 and they finished 3-5 in their conferences.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like exactly, like yeah. Any other year, this matchup would probably be very exciting,
This would
but
be like a national title type game. I mean, any other year,
well, it was a
probably.
national title game in '07. It was. I
You
think
have
that.
you have such an insane memory.
Well, that
That's
was Tim Tebow.
ridiculous. Good old Tebow. You love Tim Tebow, don't you?
No,
No, you
no, I
don't.
don't. No,
Okay.
I respect the man and what he's
Okay.
doing this
He's
season in
winning.
the
He's
NFL.
winning.
I mean, and that's all that
Winning with
matters in the
Charlie
NFL.
Sheen. Although those
Yeah,
two couldn't be more opposites.
yeah, right. Well, I don't know. I mean, what's to look for in this game? I can't even really pick a winner. I mean, like they're about the
I'll say
same.
Florida, I guess. I don't know.
Just
Who
Florida. I
cares?
mean,
It doesn't
the
matter.
reason why we mentioned this game is because it's
Urban
two
Meyer
huge.
going to Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he won't be coaching in this game, but he's going to be in attendance, and he will be, taking the reins next season.
Who does he root for? Ohio State?
I would hope so. His new employer, I would hope he would root for the team
All
that he's
right, all
coaching.
right, all right. Okay, here we go. We're on to the BC. Oh no, we're not. We're not going to go to the BCS bowl games yet because we're going to talk about the Cotton Bowl first. We're going to talk about Kansas State and Arkansas. That's actually 2 days after. I don't know. That's 4 days after all the New Year's Day quote unquote games. That's two teams that Kansas State. Boy, they kind of came out of nowhere this year. Well, they
Well,
definitely
this
came out of
game
nowhere.
is arguably better than two BCS games that are going on.
I would agree. I would
I
probably
mean,
agree.
this game is a lot more exciting
Two
than.
teams that got absolutely screwed. Well, Arkansas couldn't go because there are already two SEC teams, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's just how this whole twisted system works, right?
don't
It
even
does.
get me started on that.
Jesus. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't really know
I
how
feel bad. I
deserving.
feel bad for Kansas State and Arkansas. I think they're both better than four of the other participants in the BCS games.
Okay, I mean, if you look at Kansas State's schedule this season, they lost to two opponents they probably should have lost to anyway: Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, right? And like, they actually almost pulled one out against Oklahoma State. They ended up
That was a
losing.
crazy game. I remember watching that one. That game was insane.
Yeah, they pulled within a
Colin
touchdown.
Klein, that quarterback for Kansas State, he's probably not going to be drafted even, but boy, that kid's a stud. He
Yeah,
just finds
I
ways
mean,
to win, just like Tim Tebow. Not
notice how
really.
Tebow keeps coming up in this.
Yeah, boy, imagine that.
Gosh.
What's the over/under on Tebow mentions? We're already at two.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I mean, okay, Kansas State, they also beat Baylor earlier in the season. They beat them by one, actually. Um, so, Baylor, we were talking about them earlier, about how good we think they are. But I just don't think they're going to have enough to beat Arkansas. I mean,
I think Arkansas is
Arkansas,
battle tested from the SEC, sort
like,
of.
okay. I mean, like, yeah, definitely battle tested. I mean, their two losses are to LSU and Alabama, who are in the title game, So, I mean, and I would go to say if LSU and Bama aren't, if Arkansas didn't have to play those two, Arkansas is in the title game.
I would agree
Odds.
if they weren't in the same division as them, and if they got a
Yeah,
pass like
Arkansas.
Georgia, they would have been
Yeah, yeah,
undefeated.
yeah. Arkansas would be in the
I would
title
agree.
game. So, I mean, not only is Arkansas not in a BCS, they're in the Cotton Bowl. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's okay.
it's
It's almost like a fifth BCS game, anyways. So
sixth BCS game.
sixth. Shut up.
But
Okay.
yeah, but
All
I'm
right.
I'm gonna root for Kansas State, but it's probably gonna be an
You
Arkansas
know what?
victory.
I'll pick Kansas State. Just because I like them. I like Bill Snyder.
Just because you like them.
I like Bill
Okay.
Snyder. He's
All
brought
right,
that
that's
program
respectable.
back from irrelevance.
Okay.
All right, first bowl game or first BCS bowl game of the day, the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, as Keith Jackson used to say. Got the Pac-12. I'm still saying Pac-10 all the time.
It's
Pac-12 winner, Oregon Ducks. Big Ten winner, Wisconsin Badgers. I think this and the Fiesta Bowl are probably the marquee games, aside from the title game, maybe. But
yeah. Um.
I think this is going to be an awesome game.
Well, you know how I feel about Chip Kelly, and like
And you know how I feel the same way.
and I mean, I'm not gonna discredit him for
Although
being.
I did just see a report that some NFL teams might be offering Kelly a position in the offseason. So we'll see. That could be interesting.
I don't know. I mean, like, I dislike the man, but he has
You can't
done.
deny the success up there.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Was
I
this
mean,
is this his second or third year up there? Third
third, I
year.
believe, because he brought him to the Rose Bowl 2 years
Two
ago.
Rose Bowls and a BCS title game in 3 years. His
But
first 3 years. Granted, he was kind of, handed the keys to the Cadillac by Mike Bellotti, but still.
well, yeah, Oregon. This is their third appearance in the BCS 3 years in a row, but they're still 0-2. They haven't brought one home yet.
I think this is the year.
You think this is the year
This
for
is the
them, huh?
year.
Now, Oregon, I liked what they did to Stanford earlier this season. I mean, I thought Stanford was totally going to mess them up, and Oregon just came out
Coached on.
playing like, yeah, just playing like champions, and they just totally took Andrew Luck and Stanford to town. So, and it wasn't even at Oregon; it was at Stanford. So they did it in their own house too. So I don't know, like, I mean, Oregon earlier without those two losses, like they were looking like they were going to be in the title game again, and that was really getting to me because I did not want to see that.
What
But
would you have rather seen? The current rematch between Alabama and LSU, or an LSU Oregon rematch? I would have rather seen LSU try Oregon again. This is the first game of the year. It was a neutral site game. The game was
yeah,
closer than the score indicated.
yeah, it was. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I would probably want to see LSU Oregon
You're
because,
looking at the best offense versus the best defense, probably.
yeah, I mean, it would have been a lot more
I would have liked
interesting
to see
than
that.
the gridiron defensive game we're going to have to watch. But
Boy, I hope this game is three to. I hope Alabama and LSU is 0-0 going into overtime, and each team has like 4 missed field goals.
probably on the Alabama side.
Yeah, mostly on that side.
Yeah, most of the misses are going to come on Alabama side. But
Exactly.
okay, yeah, I think I'm going with you too on this game. I think I'm going to have to go with Oregon as
Although, man,
well.
Wisconsin, boy, did they ever luck out in getting Russell Wilson to transfer there? Are you freaking kidding me? I think I
Yeah,
heard 31 touchdowns and 3 picks. I think.
yeah,
Think
it
about
is
it. That's
scary.
what Wisconsin's always lacked in the past. They've always had a great run game. They've always had a good defense. They've always been missing that quarterback.
Oh, I mean, yeah, by all means, Oregon has their hands full with Wisconsin.
And I think
Um,
we need to talk about Monty Ball also quickly.
Monty Ball. You
Dude,
want to talk about
30,
him?
38 touchdowns, one shy from tying Barry Sanders' single season touchdown record. Only needs 2 to break it. I think he gets those probably in this game. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean 40 touchdowns in a season. That's unbelievable.
Do you know that he actually threw for a touchdown this season too?
I do know that. He's like LaDainian Tomlinson back there.
Yeah, he actually threw for a touchdown. Yeah, he threw for one this season. So, um, yeah, I mean, yeah, this is kind of a story about Monte Ball. But I mean, like, the thing is, this is just me. Like, nowadays, like, all the hype is in the SEC, the Big 12 and stuff. Like, no one,
I hate the
I'm not saying,
SEC.
I mean, I'm not going to say no one cares about the Big 10, but I mean, like, they're hardly the talk. I mean, like, they're always going to be in the top 15, top 10, and stuff. But I mean, all the powerhouses are in the SEC, and and like that's
Okay,
obviously,
we'll get into the conference debate another time. SEC
yeah,
is top heavy. The bottom
yeah,
half of the SEC is a joke. We
yeah.
won't get into it, but I'm just gonna say that it's a joke. Freaking Kentucky, Ole Miss, give me a break.
But dude, if Monte Ball played for an SEC team like an Arkansas or an LSU, I think there'd be a lot more hype around him. Just saying
Same
that.
thing. It's the East Coast bias that ESPN
Yeah,
puts out.
for sure.
Okay, let's move on. This is my most anticipated bowl game, and I think it is yours too. Stanford and Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yes, sir.
Fiesta Bowl lucked out here. They got the sexiest matchup, I think.
Yeah, no, I wish this was the title
I
game
think the
because
Fiesta Bowl committee is saying, thank you, Sugar Bowl. Thank you, Orange Bowl.
yeah, exactly.
We're
Because
going to have
this
the
one,
best game.
yeah, no, seriously, like this game's gonna be awesome. The fireworks are gonna be going off all night in this game. I think. Like, oh no, like Andrew Luck, his last game and stuff. I mean, I hope he just goes crazy. I mean, I know you want Stanford win, even though I don't get it because you're a
I,
Cal fan,
I,
and I don't know how you can ever root for
I
Stanford
want
against
Stanford to
anyone.
win so that the Pac-12 gets a big payday from it. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
yeah, but I still don't agree with rooting for
I don't
rivals.
I don't really care about Oklahoma State that much, so
I feel bad for Oklahoma State for what
yeah,
happened to them this.
they got screwed to say the least.
I mean, like Oklahoma State, Iowa State, what Iowa State did to
And you
them.
know what? Okay,
Uh,
I'm going to bring up the conference debate again. If Oklahoma State were in the SEC and then they lost that game, and because maybe people don't know about it, but the day before this, the Oklahoma State Iowa State game, the Oklahoma State women's basketball coach and one of his assistants died in a plane crash.
that is true.
And if that happened to an SEC team, then they lost, they would be getting a pass.
Yeah,
They'd be like,
no,
oh, well, it was under such dire circumstances, and oh, that's
yeah,
okay, LSU, don't worry about that one loss.
yeah,
Oklahoma
no,
State's getting none of that. It's
no.
a joke.
I mean, granted, obviously, since they did get that one loss against Iowa State, after all that happened, it's still a loss to Iowa State, who's they're bowl bound, but it's still
Six and
just
six, I think.
66 is not a worthy loss for Oklahoma State. And Alabama, their one loss is to their opponent in the title game. I mean LSU. So I
Yeah.
think Alabama has a better say in saying that they deserve to be in it. I mean, obviously it sucks because we're seeing a game that we already saw, and it would have been interesting to actually see two different conferences in the title game, but we're getting two SEC teams. So
Whether we like it or not.
yeah, whether we like it or not, I'm still gonna watch this Fiesta Bowl from start to finish, and I'm too gonna hope for a Stanford victory,
Okay, fair enough.
just because I like Andrew Luck.
If he doesn't win the Heisman, that'll be one of the great robberies of this generation, I think.
I would have to agree.
Okay. All right, I don't even want to talk about these next two bowl games. I think people should boycott them.
We'll just combine them. The Sugar Bowl and the
We may
Orange.
as well because they don't matter. Okay, we're gonna go with the Orange Bowl first. That's West Virginia versus Clemson. West Virginia's 9-3. They're the Big East winners. Clemson somehow managed to beat Virginia Tech again in the ACC title game. All I can say is at least it's not Connecticut with 4 losses.
Yeah, yeah. Last year was a little worse, I would say.
So,
But okay, sizing up Clemson, right? They start out the season
um,
8-0.
they always Clemson it up. They always
Yeah,
lose.
Clemson it up. They beat the defending champs. They beat Auburn. Whether you like that or not, it's still a tough SEC team. It's tough for an ACC team to beat any of the SEC teams, I think. But they beat Auburn. Then they beat Florida State, but that doesn't really matter because Florida State was nothing because of what's his face getting hurt or whatever.
EJ Manuel.
Yeah. Without him, that team was just horrible. And then obviously they beat Vatek at Vatek.
They beat him again in the title game.
And they beat him again in the title game. So I mean, I don't know. But then they lose to Georgia Tech and North
By
Carolina
rules
State.
of the BCS, Clemson deserves to get there, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
All right,
But
I'm done. Unless you have anything else to add, I don't want to talk about it anymore. We're wasting valuable time.
valuable time. Well, how about West Virginia getting in still? And
I don't know. The Big East having an automatic bid is a joke, and it has been. It's just a joke. I mean,
all right.
they're trying to buff it up by adding Boise and all these other schools, but I don't think it matters. So okay, this is the game that really gets my blood boiling, and it has nothing to do with the BCS rankings. Actually, it has more to do with just the committees. Sugar Bowl, Michigan, Virginia Tech. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They're ranked
I
number
didn't even know
11 and
Michigan.
13.
I know. I didn't even know Michigan was even ranked. I didn't even know they
Yeah,
were
it's
even.
pretty easy to forget about them.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, Michigan? I'm like, oh, you're talking about Michigan State, right? I'm like,
No,
oh,
we mean
no,
the
Michigan.
Wolverines, where Rich Rodriguez used to coach.
Yeah, no, Michigan State's a lot better than Michigan. I think Michigan State should. Michigan State losing to Wisconsin, they should get on that.
And I understand you want to make money, you want to get viewers, you want people to go down to the game, and Michigan and Virginia Tech have big fan bases.
Horrible. Just horrible.
Was it
Blasphemy.
Michigan's 11 and Virginia Tech's 13th, or maybe they switched it. Boise State was 7th. How do you do that?
Well, it's the talks about the
It's ridiculous.
non-qualifying. Well, I mean, okay, we all know that a one-loss non-AQ team wasn't getting in, even if they're ranked that high. Just like how
True.
Houston, one loss, yeah, they're not getting in. Boise
obviously.
State, one loss. Yeah, they're just not going to get in. This is how the way of the world is right now,
I
But
I
I don't know,
I think people should boycott this game and not watch it because
not watch
it's
it.
a
Well, I'm
joke.
not going to watch it, and
Yeah,
that should
no.
just
Why would I want to watch Michigan Virginia Tech?
yeah. There's nothing I'm
There's
excited about.
nothing to watch for it. Okay, all right. With with that said, bitterness aside, BCS national title game, the rematch from the previous game of the century, which ended up being really boring.
Yeah.
Alabama and LSU. 9-6 was the final last game, folks. Remember that.
Yeah, that game. Okay, I watched it to the first half at the end of the first half, and then I tuned back in in the fourth quarter, I believe. I forget, or later in the third, and I thought my TV was like frozen or something because I got on and it was like the same score still. It was like 3-0 or 3-3 or whatever, and I was like, did I pause it or something? Like I thought I paused it and got back. No, the game was going on for 15 minutes and it still was the same score and still not exciting at all. I mean, the story of that game obviously was the missed field goals of Alabama and LSU capitalizing in overtime. But yeah, this is
Well,
I'm
I just want to go into a little side story here. I told you about the Oklahoma State SB Nation fan site going crazy when it was announced it was Alabama, and someone posted, "It's like, do you honestly think that you could beat Alabama in a game?" It's like, no, but I know we'd win a kicking contest with you against you.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Uh, I don't know.
I just don't
Like
really. I mean, okay. They probably are the top two teams. I'll give you that. But I don't want to watch it again. I already
yeah, I mean,
watched it
it
once.
just yeah, it
Watched it
just
once a
comes.
month ago.
I mean, it goes back to that whole like the if we were able to have a four-team playoff, right? Because the way we look at it, we have LSU, Alabama, the two best defenses, and then you have Oklahoma State and Stanford at 3 and 4, who are probably two of the top best offenses. It'd be interesting to match these four teams up and see who comes out on top and see if we would have different turnout. I mean,
You know,
many would say,
I don't necessarily think we would have a different turnout if that were the scenario. But just give me something different. I don't want to watch this again.
and I hope Alabama wins. I hope they beat
No,
LSU,
I
and I
hope
hope
LSU wins because I don't want there to be. I just want it to be a definitive end of the season. I don't want to hear anything from like Alabama fans be like, "Oh, well, we split the games." I don't want to hear that. I don't want to have to put up with that until next college football season. I want LSU to just stomp them.
well, nah, I want Bama to win.
Okay. Like either of these two teams needs another national title to their name.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna pick LSU. They already beat them once at Alabama. I don't see why that will be any different this time around.
It's in the Superdome, right?
New Orleans, that's it.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna be a big SEC just party. That's all it's gonna be. Whoever wins, it's an
it
SEC
doesn't
winner.
matter exactly, and that's that's the most ridiculous thing too. People are like, oh well, the SEC's won the last 5 national titles, and well, of course they're gonna win it this year. They're not giving anyone else a chance.
I know. This year, no
It's
matter
gonna be an
what.
SEC team no matter what.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's the whole system is broken. I mean, I'm not saying anything new. People know that.
Exactly.
I don't know. Okay, well, we've covered all the bowl games that matter, anyways. Sorry, Arkansas State and Northern Illinois. GoDaddy.com bowl.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Arkansas State's 10-2, Northern Illinois 10-3. Congratulations, I guess.
Congratulations.
Okay,
You're in
let's move on. Heisman talks. Let's do it quickly. We
a
got to wrap this up real quick, like. Robert Griffin III. He's the front runner now somehow.
runner. Yeah, I mean Andrew Luck. I'm surprised he's in third, but I mean I can
You
understand
know
why.
why? Because he kind of had some fair to middling games at the end of the year, and
Yeah,
had some average games. And he doesn't have the ridiculous stats. I don't know.
yeah.
I hope Luck still wins it because you know what? I'd be even more pissed if Trent Richardson won it over Andrew Luck because then we would have another Alabama running back screwing a Stanford player because Toby Gerhart should have won it over Mark Ingram 3 years ago or 2 years ago.
And I swear, every time I see Trent Richardson run, it just reminds me of Ingram. Just like
They're
this,
like the same player, aren't they? Wouldn't you?
the same player. Like I think they have the same
Exact
hairdo
player.
too. The same hairdo
They
and everything.
really are.
It's like, dude, that's Ingram playing and with the Richardson jersey. Like seriously, like
Mark Ingram wasn't drafted by the Saints. It's Trent Richardson, really.
Yeah, exactly. They could be the same person. I don't know. Like, if it's not Andrew Luck, I hope it's Robert Griffin. Like, I don't want
I think Luck
Trent
deserves
Richardson.
it because without Luck, Stanford's probably barely above 500. They're probably like 7-5.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make the same argument for Robert Griffin, obviously, but I think Andrew Luck is. I mean, he's clearly. I don't think there's any debate. He's gonna be the number one pick in the draft. He's the best player in college football. He was the
You
best
know,
player last year too. I mean, it's
yeah, and if we also go off of, like straight the schedule and like the actual records of the teams, Andrew Luck has one loss and Robert Griffin has three losses. So, like, I think that, should play a part in it, still. Like, but who has a harder schedule? Probably Baylor, right?
well, I think the Big 12 ended up being the toughest team at the end of at the end of it all, probably. In
Yeah,
terms of ranked teams and
yeah.
so.
Well, not taking anything from Andrew Luck, but I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Griffin wins it, though.
All right,
Wouldn't be
well
a
let's
surprise.
move on. You want to talk about the NFL a little bit, right?
Yeah, let's just like
I feel like
touch
we
on
gotta go through it
something
quick.
very quick. All right. All right. So the playoff picture, we're looking at, an undefeated Packers team
12 and
that's
0.
probably going to run the table, and I don't see them benching Aaron Rodgers. Why? Unless just to, humble everyone or whatever, just be like, oh yeah, we're going to rest him for the playoffs. But we've
There's no
seen
need to
teams that
rest
have
him. He
done.
doesn't take any hits back there. He's
Yeah, he
completely
doesn't need
healthy.
hits.
There's no need
He's
to
pretty
rest him. He's
healthy. Let
fine.
him have his, awesome
It's not like he's
season.
getting banged around, beaten up like Michael Vick or somebody. You know, he's fine.
Exactly. So, I mean, and the team, I think the team, and probably the only team Green Bay has to watch out for the NFC is New Orleans. I mean, like San Francisco, yeah, they have that defense and stuff. But I just don't think the San Francisco offense is gonna be able to go toe to toe with the Packers. I mean,
I
like
agree.
New Orleans has the offense and an okay enough defense that they could probably be able to keep up with the Packers. I mean, and they played at the beginning of the season. That game was pretty
Hey,
good.
San Francisco's allowed the least amount of points in all of the NFL this season.
Yeah. And they didn't play, I don't think they played New Orleans or Green Bay this season, have they?
I don't believe they have because they would have lost.
Yeah. So, that's why I say they have to, San Francisco is going to have to get past one of them, if not both of them, if they
Also, here's the
have to.
thing: if this continues, San Francisco they're gonna have a bye in the first round, so they might not have to deal with New Orleans theoretically. If they keep
Yeah.
winning, they're game up on the Saints. So
Who knows? New Orleans can have a quick exit in the first round like they did last year against Seattle.
I don't trust New Orleans on the road or like any outdoor game. I don't trust New Orleans in. If they're on a dome, I will, I'll bet on New Orleans to the end of the day. But if you put New Orleans in a cold environment, I think like Green Bay in January, I don't really like their chances, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no. So I think the two teams to watch for in the NFC is Green Bay and New Orleans, and I'm not even going to mention any NFC East teams.
That whole division's a joke.
Yeah, the Giants were showing some life, but now they dropped
Let's see,
four games
Dallas is the
straight.
only team with a winning record at this point.
Yeah,
The
the
Giants have
Giants.
lost four in a row.
I know, like at one point they were 6-2, but now they're on a four-game losing streak. So it's just like, you would think after the Giants beat New England at New England, they were just gonna,
Yeah.
get on their high horse and just roll on everyone. But no, they just. In fact, that was a turning point for them. Beating New England was a turning
Six
point.
and
Now they
two,
lost
and
four.
then now you're 500.
Yeah,
That's pretty
so
bad. Let's anything
well,
anything to add on
well,
the AFC?
the AFC, Tim Tebow and the
That's three.
God.
I,
They've won 5 games straight. He's 6-1.
with the way with the
Most,
way the Raiders are playing right now, too, dude. I've got to jump on the Bronco bandwagon. I've gotta.
they're gonna win this division. They might even be able to win a playoff
And you
game
know
because
what?
you look at it. Houston, they lost their starting quarterback, right?
Matt Schaub, he's out.
Yeah,
Matt
yeah,
Leinart, backup, he's out. Broken collarbone. Got T.J. Yates.
yeah. Like Houston, they'll get in the playoffs. They'll win that division, but I don't know how much noise Houston will be able to make in the
I
playoffs.
would agree.
I would say that. This is me. I know you think otherwise, but I think the two top dogs in the AFC is Baltimore and New England. New England obviously played Pittsburgh though earlier this season, and Pittsburgh just made a joke out of New England. But I still like New England. I mean, Tom Brady has to have his A game. Obviously, it's all about Tom Brady. Like, it's not like Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, where Aaron Rodgers has a supporting cast around him. But New England, like Tom Brady's
No, he doesn't.
really
There's no run game up in Green Bay.
sup-
Although,
still
okay, yeah, I would argue Rodgers'
like
receivers are better than
yeah, a
New
lot better than New
England's.
England. I mean, New England without Tom
What do you
Brady
mean,
having
dude?
like
Tom Brady has he has the Gronk. He has Rob Gronkowski.
yeah, but there's no help on the defensive side at all. New
Yeah, their
England,
defense is god
like
awful.
Tom Brady has to score on every single drive because if he doesn't, New England's gonna give up a
And
touchdown.
who
Like
you got Patrick Chung and
yeah, I mean New England.
Gerard Mayo. It's like good
The only
god.
way New England makes a run in the playoffs is obviously they need the first round bye, and then they need to be able to squeak by a Baltimore or Pittsburgh team. And I mean, I'm just hoping
I
for.
think Pittsburgh and Baltimore are the teams to beat. The defense wins championships, and they both have defense in abundance.
I mean, I'm just hoping for a New England Packers Super Bowl so that when the Packers are undefeated, New England, who obviously lost to the Giants, lost their
That's a pretty
undefeated
bad
season.
loss. Oh well,
Yeah,
they lost this season. Plus the Super Bowl loss was pretty bad too, I guess.
yeah, but I mean, like, I think it's only acceptable that if Green Bay wants to go undefeated, they have to get through New England. It would just be,
Passing of the torch from Brady to Rodgers.
yeah, they're saying at the rate Rodgers is going, in the next 5 years, he's probably going to win 3, if not 4 titles at the rate he's going.
If he can stay healthy and if he's only like 27 or 28. I mean, he has
He's
at
still
least
young.
5 more years of absolute prime left, and you know, if they keep.
I mean, yeah, that's why I think it would just be kind of acceptable if New England, goes against Green Bay, loses to Green Bay, and it would be exactly passing of the torch.
I would, dude. You know what? You just spelled out my dream Super Bowl scenario. I'm digging that. I'm digging
And I
that.
think there should actually be a torch too.
Tom Brady has to hand it to Aaron Rodgers after he loses.
Yeah, has to have a torch exactly, and just hand it off to Aaron Rodgers,
And then Rodgers does his
and
little
then
belt motion and all that jazz. So.
Tom Brady retires after that.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for episode number 1 of Just Plain Sports. If you liked what you heard, give us a like, give us a favorite, subscribe to our channel here. You can find us on Twitter at JustPlainSports. I'm Jimmy, and he's Randy. Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you'll be back, and we hope to see you. Bye.
Later.